This week on What Do You Got? We're going to be talking about things we miss pre-2020.
Pre-2020. You have to explain that to me.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to BDP. I'm Andy Smith.
I'm Tim Fulton.
And this is What Do You Got?
What do you got?
What do you got? So one of us brings something to the table, and the other will just bullshit about it for a little bit. It's Tim's turn. Tim, after over a month of What Do You Got, what did you bring?
Nothing. No, so I'm going to try to get as little political and as little divisive as possible, but we're going to be talking about COVID a little bit. I strictly just want to talk about things that we missed pre-pandemic. You know, that whole life thing that everyone used to have once upon a time? The whole
Yeah.
So the golden era of everything. Things are different now. We're 2 years into this nonsense, and I will preface this by saying, and you can quote me on this, and you can because this is going to be a YouTube video, so it's going to be up there for a while. I believe we're heading towards the end.
Me too, but we think we have a different definition of the end.
Everyone dies. I think that this is going to be over by mid-April.
I agree. I don't think the wizards can hide behind the curtains anymore.
But that being said, there is a difference between life now and life within the past couple of years versus life pre-COVID. And I just want to talk about things that we missed, things that we reminisce about. The good old days.
Yeah.
Memories.
There's a bunch of things that I'm thinking of.
This is why I wrote a couple down.
So number one is worrying about when you go somewhere, what the rules are.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Either you just can't go somewhere because you don't have the equipment for the rules, or you don't have the medical stuff for the rules or whatever. But legitimately, that's the first thing that comes up in your head now when you go somewhere any distance is what do you have to be this or do you need this? Do we need masks?
100%. So my sister-in-law's sister and her husband live on the border of New York and New Jersey, which have very different rules. And they went to a food store. Again, I'm trying not to get divisive and whatnot. Just
speak freely like no one's listening. Shouldn't be hard.
So they went to a food store in New York, which has different rules. Right now, masks are 100% required. So they went into the food store and they got kicked out. And as they were leaving, they were like, we didn't even think about it. We didn't even, because it's not required in New Jersey. They just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see your point there.
Yeah, which brings me to another one is I miss when people used to not be insane.
Yeah. That too.
There was a couple. There was always the political things that would be real divisive and really get people and shit like that. But this whole thing is kind of like nobody can say the words that are in this box without that turning into a multiplication of other conversations that are going to spring up. And I agree with you with a lot of the not wanting to talk about COVID stuff, because there's very few people that I know where you can bring up COVID, the conversation will end about COVID, and you'll move on to a different conversation. It seems that most conversations, it's the conversation ends when the COVID talk stops.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because conversation was one of the things I wrote down on my list, because it's no matter where you go, and I understand it's on the back of everyone's mind because it's in our faces constantly, blah, blah, blah.
It's very frustrating.
It's frustrating that's
for many reasons, like you said.
It's all anyone wants to talk about, it feels like. My New Year's consisted of hours of people just talking about COVID and this and that. And I was just sitting there can we play a board game? And we did end up playing board games. But I was like, can we just do something else? Come on.
Unfortunately, I think that those conversations in the long run are necessary to get us to the other side of this, because the only way that like people are gonna like figure things out or realize that like, oh hey, like everyone that thinks this way isn't an asshole. Like I have some people in my family that think this way, and maybe I should look at it from that perspective, or vice versa, is by having conversations. The shitty part is that it's such a shitty topic, and it's such a like I put all my money into this side of it, so like if I'm wrong, I'm socially bankrupt.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot that goes into those things, and also too like it's like sidestepping a minefield.
Yeah, it is.
Because you never know like what you're going to say or not say, or who's.
See, I actually respectfully disagree with the whole conversation is necessary thing, because for the most part, and I see the irony of me being like, I hate this conversation.
Yeah.
While I made it the topic of conversation.
No, I get it.
But for the most part, I feel like people enjoy being, subconsciously, enjoy being in a, what is the goddamn word
Conflict?
I'm looking for? No, not just conflict, an echo chamber. People don't want to talk about it to talk about it. People want to, in my opinion, talk about it for confirmation. They want to hear that
100%.
They want to hear that they're right.
Yes.
And once you say, no, I don't agree with that, then all of a sudden, like, guns come out, and you're just like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying that the conversation is important, because I should put that in a better way. Constructive conversations are important.
Yeah.
That whole thing of like, I'm only going to talk to people about this topic that I know agree with me. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're basically just like recording yourself and then playing it back. It's not like the people that you should be talking to are like people in the middle, like level-headed, not the extremists, because they're not going to change their mind. Some of them might, but the conversations, I agree that you can't have a group of people together for an extended period of time without this subject coming up. And if you do have it, it's awkward. It's almost
awkward.
like people are like, we can't say Voldemort. Like,
Yeah.
not allowed to say it.
No.
Like, but everyone's thinking about Voldemort because we haven't heard his name in 5 minutes. Yeah. Conversations is a big one.
Conversation is a big one. We are in the greater New York City metropolis area. I miss the city, which is weird because I hate the city.
Yeah.
I feel like I need that reminder once every like 3 months or so to go in, have a good time, come out, and then be like, trees.
Yeah, that's the one of the main things I was talking about when it travel, because like there's a lot of concerts, places to go, stuff like that. That's either in the city or right on the Jersey border of the city on the river.
That's another really good one. Constant fear of things being canceled.
Yeah.
So like
you can't book anything.
You can't book anything. Yeah, I could plan a concert in the summer. Who knows if it'll actually happen?
Yeah.
Chances are, based on my like prediction before, yeah, but don't know that for certain.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird that you have to plan a vacation and then just pray that it works.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. There is a it's almost like you your ability to plan things is gone.
We went to I don't know if I told you this or not, but for the past umpteenth years we do the Polar Express, which is, whoever has seen the movie, it's a mock of the movie. So they take you to the North Pole. Santa comes, they do the whole dance thing, you get hot chocolate. We showed up that day, and they tell you to get there an hour early. You're supposed to wear PJs. It's supposed to be a whole big event. We got there early. I drove my parents. My brothers were meeting us there. So we got there an hour and 15 minutes early. We were the first ones there. So we're looking around. We're like, wow, we really are the first ones here. Holy crap.
Pat you down, lift your balls, cough twice.
Well, then my mother, after a couple of minutes, was like, I know we're early, but I don't see any of the employees either. It was canceled. We didn't know. And their website didn't say it. I could go on a tangent about this, but I'm just going to say that they canceled.
Without informing.
They did on Facebook. They made a Facebook post. So, and my brother showed up. My one brother came from an hour away. My other brother came from a half hour away. The kids were there, and we had to look at everyone and be like, it's canceled. Sorry. We're just going home.
Yeah, that's, I got Butterfinger.
Do you want a piece of paper, buddy?
I got one. Yeah, that's shitty. That's
Yeah.
really shitty.
It's stuff like that, like things like that used to happen, but not like now.
Not
like,
on a mass scale.
yeah.
There's
Stuff like that's just so disappointing.
one of the things I as like a feeling, like living in this country is like the feeling that like there's like a strength and like a basic like a basic level of I don't want to use the wrong word.
Unity?
Not unity. It's too loosey of a goosey of a word. Like not trust, but like certain weird things that like we all kind of agreed on that like we never talked about, but like basic things like, yeah, we don't want to see anybody like get hurt or like whatever. But it's the same thing like any like extreme situation, like it all kind of gets a little scary and a little weird.
Yeah.
And during the height of like like in the beginning when everyone was terrified, like you see how quickly and how fragile that stuff is, to where like people say some fucking weird dark shit and like that stuff lingers afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
it
there's
does.
not a feeling of like, it's not very neighborly.
Yeah.
There's a very lack of of neighborly, and I miss like people not losing their shit and looking at somebody who just coughed as if they like slathered jelly on their body and were like whipping their dick in a circle. Like, it's a cough. Okay? It's a cough.
I agree with that too. I miss being able to have a runny nose without feeling like without my office staring me down like I'm gonna murder everyone on accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a runny nose.
Yeah.
I didn't accidentally take down the support of the building. Nothing's about to collapse.
Yeah, you didn't walk in with dynamite strapped to your chest with your finger on a button like, ha, I'm like, cough and hit it. Like, you're not doing that. Relax, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember? I remember a specific conversation. Do you remember when we were bullshitting and during like the very, very, very beginning, before everyone was like really worried about it?
Yeah.
And they did like the lockdowns, and people were like, they're like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and I'm like, I remember saying, I'm like, it's gonna be a lot longer than 2 weeks. And everyone was like, you're fucking nuts.
You and I were on the same page about
Yeah.
that from the get-go.
Yeah, I'm like, this isn't going to be 2 weeks.
I remember someone telling us, they were like, I can't wait, or I think it was like April, and they were like, I can't wait for April to be over, so this is done. And we were just like,
It's not done in April.
no.
Yeah, this ain't done in April. Like, you gave the keys to the inmates. Yeah. They're running the place now. Yeah, I remember like the feeling. And like when I would talk to people who are like, "Oh, it's almost over," and I just remember looking at them like, "You don't see the storm clouds rolling in, do you? Like you're just like no umbrella,
Yeah, no.
just walking around." That was a scare. That was kind of like freaked me out a little bit about how many people like were unaware
Yeah.
that
yeah.
like it's like no, it said 2 weeks we're going to be back to normal, and you're like, do you see anyone going back to normal? No one's going back to normal.
No.
Like half the country can't wipe their ass after they shit. What are you talking about? Normal. What else do we miss about pre-COVID?
I do miss maskless people. And maskless myself. I've worn a mask more in the past like 5 days than I think I've worn in the past 2 years combined.
Yeah.
But God, I know. Again, trying not to be divisive. I know the arguments for it. I know.
I know.
But I would love to just live life walking around free ball in my face.
Yeah, I do also miss like stopping by someone's house or like get-togethers without having to be like, when's the last time have you seen anyone or texted them if they had COVID?
Or sudden cancellations.
Yeah.
You know, like Johnny's coworker came down with COVID, so we're not going to be able to make it tonight because blah, blah, blah. And you're just like...
How many liars?
You know, it does make a great excuse.
How many dirty fucking liars are there out there that have used COVID to get out of work, to get out of, you know, one thing I'm grateful for, which I knew was going to happen, and people that are on the opposite of this are gonna fucking hate the words that come out of my mouth, but it's absolutely true. So you can go fuck yourselves. When all the businesses shut down
Mm-hmm.
and people working from home were working from home,
Yeah.
right? There was a weird thing that happened, and like everyone that I know worked from home had it. Because I didn't, you didn't stop really working. You worked from home for a little bit.
For like 2 weeks.
But then you went back.
Yeah.
And I was the same thing. I didn't go home at all. So I just kept working. And I remember thinking like, oh, it sucks, man. Like I want to be able to, but then I'm like, but when this stops, life is not going to be hard. I'm like, if people have to not work for 2 months and then they go back to work, they're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And then after 2 years, I'm like, oh, that's going to be rough. So there was this thing where when you would talk to people, and I know a lot of people that work from home. It was pretty much everybody at one point.
Yeah.
But the first couple times you talk to them, for the first like couple weeks, they were like, it's fantastic. I love it. This and the other thing, I have so much free time and all that stuff. And then the story switched. I think what happened, I'm going to say I know what happened.
Okay.
I'm going to say I know. Is that they were talking to people that weren't working from home, and they were selling it so hard that they were getting like, so you just do nothing all day? You just sit in your bathrobe all day?
Yeah.
You just answer emails? And then they were like, well, no. Like, because then they were going to have to like be that person who doesn't do shit all day.
Yeah.
And be that leech that's just draining the fucking, whatever. And then it was like, oh, I'm busy. I'm busy. But then you're like, I follow you on Instagram. I see your story. And you're like, you were in floofy socks until 2 p.m. Like, you didn't do shit today. But like, there's that weird thing where like, and it happened all within like a week or two. It was like all the people working from home got together. Like, we can't fucking make it look like we're not doing anything. Like, you have to just stop selling it. Stop selling it so hard. And then when they started saying they're going to stop the lockdown, everyone I know that was working, not everyone, but broad brush, was like, this is bullshit. Why do we have to go to work? I don't have to fucking be in the office. I'll do everything from home. This is so dumb. And I'm like, someone's got to go back to the office, huh? Oh, yeah. It was kind of fun watching them freak the fuck out.
Piggybacking off of that a little bit, I miss when things functioned, like society functioned properly and regularly.
Yes.
And I'm an accountant. A great example of this is the IRS, right? So we have a bunch of clients who the IRS, government agencies are one of those groups that still don't require people to be in the buildings all the time. Not everyone.
Not mentally, physically.
That too.
Any of it.
Yeah, I should preface this with the IRS has never functioned well. But they have, I think it's like they're allowed like one person per floor or something like that. It's something dumb. Anyway, so
what?
So what happens when you get a letter from the IRS is that you mail them a response. So we have a bunch of clients. You get mistakes from the IRS all the time. They'll say, you owe us money. And you'll have to turn around and be like, no, I don't, and this is why. And you explain it to them. And as people
they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Fucking assholes.
Oh, yeah. So we had a client, and there was a mistake. The IRS came to them and said, you owe us $9,000 plus penalties and interest. And we found the mistake, and we said, no, we don't. So we mailed them a letter, which is what you do, because try calling these people on the phone. No, it just doesn't work. Just take my word for it. It doesn't work. So we write them a letter saying, no, the mistake is yours. Here's what happened. There's no one there to open up the mail. But the penalties are automated. So our clients will get like 3-4 letters in a row saying you owe money, you owe money, you owe money. Here's additional penalties and interest, additional. And so they see that $9,000 become $9,200, $9,400. Now it's $9,800. And they're just sitting there like, should I just pay it just to get rid of it? And we're like, no, it is not your fault. And sure as shit, 6 months later, the IRS comes with, oh, we've received your notification, so we're going to need a little bit more time to blah, blah, blah. Because they just can't keep up themselves. That's what I miss.
I have I have issues.
You do. We know that. Moving on.
Yeah. So we're done about COVID. It's all about me now. The issues that I have with that is that they will deem stores that sell milk essential because they sell milk. Could be a bar.
Yep.
Sell milk. And we're going back, blah, 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 and I don't care about the rules and whatever. But the IRS, the guy that is being like, we're not going to just like keep taking our citizens' money. That's not essential. It's not essential to have somebody open letters. So you're going to get a backlog of 6 months of piled up letters. Not only that, you're paying postage. You're paying to have all those letters sent out redundantly.
Yep.
Like, I just, like, I don't want to say, like, we need to obtain, like, a little bit of North Korean tactics when it comes to, like, government people. But, like, maybe one or two just to set the tone. Like, throw out the jab.
Did you hear what happened in North Korea?
No, please tell me.
Someone graffitied Kim Jong-un sucks or something like that on the side of a building. So they're going door to door asking people for their handwriting so they can figure out who it is. Which is ironic because graffiti and handwriting do not go hand in hand. Pun not intended.
I'm going to tell you this right now.
They're executing somebody.
There's an interesting thing I heard about North Korea, and it made sense on like a very fucked up level. I was listening to a guy, I think he was in the CIA, I think it was Mike Baker. It might not have been, so don't quote me, but he was talking about, remember when they had the missile launch and it was like, boop?
Yeah.
Right? So everyone was making fun of him and stuff like that. And the guy who's talking, which I forget who it was, but he was saying it's actually brilliant because he controls all the stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
So what he can sell, because if he just keeps talking about the missile launch, people are like, oh, you don't have it. What he got to do there was he's like, see, I tried to launch a missile at the United States. We just haven't got there yet. But I did it. And once we get there, they're fucked. Like, but it showed that, like, I'm willing to launch a missile.
Yeah.
Like, in a weird way. So, like, they're not going to stop at, like, we didn't get a match, Kim Jong-un, so, like, we can't execute anybody. He's like, well, what province were they in? Yeah, take all the males and just kill them all just to send a message. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, Kim Jong-un sucks. It's funny, but the repercussions are going to be horrific.
So back to what we missed about pre-COVID.
Yeah. What was the worst thing going on before COVID? We were in a pretty good spot.
I mean, I feel like we might be looking back with rose-colored glasses. I think North Korea was the biggest deal because for a while they were doing like constant missile stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean in this country, the biggest thing was like, oh, Trump says stupid shit on Twitter, and like whatever, and then like they're like, yeah, but stock market's fucking crushing it, and a lot of people have jobs, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Still says things on Twitter a lot, and fair enough, he tweets a lot for a president.
He really does.
Yeah. It's hard to remember PC. BP or BC.
BC.
That's the new BC.
That's the new BC. So what does this make this? AC?
You know what's
BC?
You know what's going to be really fucked up?
Hell's bells?
It's going to be really fucked up in like 2 or 3 years when like this is all gone,
yeah,
or we're all dead, which won't be funny, but
whatever. I mean, it would be kind of funny.
For whoever's left, maybe. But if it's all gone in like 2 or 3 years, and then like 15 years from then, like people having conversations with their kids, like, how come you don't talk to Uncle Joe anymore? And you're like, well, you know, this fucking asshole, you know, he thought that it was a good idea to do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, and he's like, well, like, I don't understand what the big deal was. Like, it was only like 2 or 3 years, and they're like, "You had to be there. It was way worse. It was way worse than it said. That you can't go by what the news says."
Yeah, you had to be there. That's a good way to put it.
It's going to be hard to explain if it goes away very soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, have someone try to explain the What was the one? Not smallpox. The Spanish flu. Spanish flu. I mean, we can read about it in textbooks and we can see the pictures, but
that was a little bit more like brush fiery, because that came through in like, I think it was 8% or 4% of the world's population
died.
I think so. Some
of the world's
or America's population. It was some big number.
I don't know.
And it was in a very short period of time. So it was just like, like a year or something like that, just kind of swept through. And then it like killed healthy people, which was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's like, cuz all this bacon actually helps me.
Well, my cousin was telling me my cousin's a nurse for I forget where. I probably shouldn't.
Probably not. Anyway. Probably better off not to say.
Yeah, my cousin is a nurse. Here's his address. But he was saying he's like the problem is that a lot of times people with pre-existing conditions don't know that they have pre-existing conditions.
That's fair.
So if someone has 98 blockage in their heart, but they run every day, they'll never know it. So yeah, I mean, I'm just taking a massive educated guess here. But if it's killing quote unquote healthy people, they might not be as healthy as they believe themselves to be. They might have been surface level healthy. We're like,
yeah, the only reason I say that is because that history thing I showed you. They did an episode on that, and they were, don't fucking quote me because this was like months ago. But
nevermore.
He was they were talking about how that particular flu, it overloaded your immune system, and which was what was causing you to get very sick. And if you had a healthier immune system, it was better at doing that.
Oh, so maybe you got like too high of a fever or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so like if you had a really healthy immune system, you would get really, really sick.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like if you weren't that healthy, or if your immune system was compromised, like it wouldn't work. Like the virus wouldn't be able to work or replicate as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was the whole
different.
weird thing about it, because like if you look at the statistics, I think most of the deaths occur between like 18 and 35.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I'd have to. Again, we're fucking retarded. I'm retarded. But yeah, that was a weird one. But what the fuck? I forgot what I was gonna say.
I wish I had like a button that was like, Andy can't remember moment. Like. On that note,
yeah.
Any last things that you miss pre-COVID before we get out this bitch?
I think I miss being ignorant about how much we have.
Yeah, I do. Ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that bliss, that drug.
The drug of ignorance.
The drug of ignorance. No, it's true. You're
what
right.
What would you call a drug that made you ignorant?
Ecstasy.
No. No, that's cheating. That's cheating.
I thought you were going to say bliss, so that's why I went with ecstasy. I don't know.
There's a perfect drug name for it, but I can't think of it.
All right, well, we're gonna let you linger.
Let me think about it for 10 minutes while we stay silent.
Yeah, let's be silent and think about it. All right, guys, let us know in the comment section down below what you miss most pre-COVID. For the love of God, don't say anything dumb and decisive.
Say all the dumb stuff. Get it out now.
Flame war immediately. Don't forget to go to brodownpro.com. We have new Bro Down stuff coming out all the good old time. Our hoodies are currently down, but they'll be back up soon. And when they are, they're perfect for that chilly weather.
They're actually we got the new design ones, or the new
thicker ones.
The new thicker ones.
Yeah,
they're actually
kind of.
I like them better.
I did too.
I like them better,
and that's why we're replacing them. So once they're back up, you can do that. Yeah, I went off on a weird tangent. Tim's
tired. He only had one cup of coffee because that's all I brought him.
Get me a refill. Bye, guys.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.